Hey guys, it's Adriana Chechik, and I want you to follow me on all my platforms. Come see me on Twitter under Adriana Chechik, Twitch under Adriana Chechik TV, and OnlyFans. Come on, see me nude, Adriana Chechik, and then Instagram if you want to be able to show it to your mom and dad, BratNasty69.
The main scene we're talking about is Tushy. When you decide to come back,
Yes.
does Vixen reach out to you? Do you reach out to Vixen? How does all that?
So I've been really lucky. So when I decided I wanted to shoot for companies, I just posted on Twitter and then they reached out to Veronica, who's my agent, and asked me to shoot. So it's been really fun. And actually, they have shot quite a few scenes of me so far for my comeback.
And without kissing your butt, maintained a level of popularity. It didn't wane from when you left to when you come back. Did that surprise you?
Um, you know what? I don't think I think when the pandemic started, the connection that I realized I had with my fans surprised me. So not losing in popularity didn't surprise me then because I realized how big of a fan base I had. And then also, I feel like we're very personal with each other. And one thing I like to say is I'm not a porn star, I'm your girlfriend. So we just share a lot of actual personal details. So I think, yeah, no, it didn't.
And you started in 2013, correct?
Yep.
You blew up right away. Did that surprise you?
That did, yes. I mean, it's really funny because when I was 18, I was dancing and I didn't have the idea of ever getting into porn.
Right.
But something in me, I guess, knew I would because when I was like drinking or I was like with a group of people that'd be like, oh, you're so hot, I'd be like, I'm gonna be the best porn star one day.
Right.
So I think I always had an intuition, but my popularity was definitely something I was, yeah, over the moon about.
How did you get into dancing? Was that a you needed money thing?
Yes, so I actually was at Drexel and I had just finished my last stipend and the next trimester was coming up and my girlfriend just got a job as a bottle woman at a Risque in Philly. So I was like, "Oh, I should do that too," because she was making like hundreds of dollars a night. So I went and I got a job, and I'm telling you, I was maybe 30 minutes into bottle to serving. And I looked at this other girl in the pole and I was like, I want to do that. So then the very next day, I came back in and then I started stripping.
When you start stripping, was it strictly for the money or did you like the attention too?
Um, I think I liked the thrill of it. The money was great, but what I thought was really cool is like the thrill and then I mean, I guess I'm like a little power hungry, so the
Right.
power play was really fun. That was the best part.
You're a pretty woman. You imagine you're really hot back then. When did you realize you had an effect on guys?
Oh gosh. I mean, I think I was before I was 18, in my late high school career. I just remember being a really hot cheerleader and
Right.
I was kind of really wild in high school. So, because I grew up in foster care and I didn't have a job, I'd want to go see movies often. So, me and my girlfriends would actually stop at like truck stops and we would bribe truckers to give us like $5 so we could go see a movie. And I think that's when I was like, oh wow, I'm like hot.
And in high school, were you popular with the boys?
Yes, I was. Yes.
Did you get the attention of some of your friends' boyfriends? Did they get jealous, your girlfriends?
You know what? I moved around quite a bit, but I never had any friends that were jealous of me. I've always been for the girls. But I've had drama with like the older girls. When I was like sophomore year, I was hanging out with
Right.
senior guys. So the all the older girls would be mad. But I think I always combated that by joining whatever team. Like I did cheerleading and soccer, and then you kind of
Right.
build friendships because of it.
Well, other than what you just mentioned, was cheerleading also for attention?
Cheerleading was for the sport. Oh my gosh. I mean, I think Bring It On was such a staple for my generation that that movie really inspired me and then I just loved the acrobats of it. So I'm actually even with my back, I try to be active. But prior to my back injury, like I
Yeah.
was on a trampoline doing backflips and stuff. So I just really, really love to be active and I love to push my body to the limit. So, because I was a flyer in cheerleading too. So I think that's kind of where a lot of the acrobatic things that I can do in porn and like even the group scenes where I can take charge in a group scene comes from because being a flyer and having all of the people
Right.
around you all the time.
And you mentioned you were wild in school. Was that, were you rebelling? Was that a sex thing? Was that what?
Yes, actually, you know what's crazy? So I didn't lose my virginity until I was 18. I like made out. My first kiss was 14. My first makeout was 17, and I called my friend's moms to pick me up because I was like so freaked out by it for some
Right.
reason that the guy made fun of me for like a week.
Right.
Um, no, I would skip a lot. Like I was still good in school, but I would
Right.
skip a lot. And then there was one time specifically where I was in school in Florida, and I actually climbed out of the window while the
Right.
teacher was teaching, and didn't even no one noticed. I'm sure the kids did, but the teacher didn't. So I would just skip a lot.
And God bless you for waiting to 18, but was that a conscious thing? Or were you just, did your parents say don't have sex before you get married and all that?
No, so because I grew up in foster care, I would see a lot of other women get pregnant and not be able to go to Planned Parenthood or have to get
Right.
consent. So I think I just really learned early on that if anything were to happen from sex, that I want to be able to take care of it or make a decision from with all the possibilities available. My mother also has 8 children. So I think seeing her often throughout life made me
Right.
like, oh, just in case.
Did, coming from foster care, you spent a lot of time on your own. You have a crazy work ethic. Does that come from that? To be on
Yes,
your own?
yes. Yeah, for sure. I think I it's funny because I have one sibling that I talk to and me and him were in a lot of the same foster care systems together in houses and me and him are both the same. He owns his own construction company and is doing really, really well because me and him always had the thought and we would always talk to each other like our only option is success and our only option is to be where we want to be. So it's funny when I broke my back, one of the biggest things I struggled with therapy was being able to be still or like calm. And even now I have like I work, but then I also take like 4 days off a week where I'm reading or something. And
Right.
sometimes I get into a habit where I'm like, "Oh man, I must be like depressed because I'm not doing anything." And I have to remind myself that
Right.
like this is okay. You can enjoy calmness and
Right.
stillness.
And when you got into adult, was it a transition from stripping?
Yes, it
Did,
was.
did somebody refer you? Because I was on the road for 13 years with features.
Okay,
we,
okay.
we'd meet girls all the time in different cities. And they'd be like,
Yeah.
oh, so pretty. I want to get into the business. Did that happen to you or something?
Yeah, so I was actually working, I was in South Beach and I was at Scarlett's Cabaret, which I absolutely loved. I loved it so much that I'd be working from 6 o'clock at night until like 9 in the morning most times
Yeah.
because they're a 24-hour city. And I was actually getting really tired of having like overnight shifts. And I remember I had like a breakdown about never being awake in the daytime and then
Right.
went to work that night and some random dude with girls came up to me and was like, "Hey, would you want to be an extra in a video?"
Right.
And I didn't think it was porn. I was just like, oh, yeah, sure,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
And then I got there and they were like, hey, how about you be in the video and come back tomorrow? And they told me it was porn. And I was like, well, I get naked all the time. And then they were like, I was like, well, what time do I have to be here? They were like 8 in the morning. And I was like, what time do I get to go home? And they were like 4, maybe 3. And I was like, sold. I'm in.
Prior to getting in movies, had you watched adult material?
No, 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 no. So when I first got in, I did a lot of like, for me, I call it studying. So I watched a lot of stuff, which
Right.
mainly was Annette Swartz. Absolutely loved her, love her. But before that, my experience with adult videos was 14 someone laughing and showing us a gay porn, and I literally threw the laptop. I remember being like
Right,
throwing the
right.
laptop. So that was my only experience prior to that. But I mean, yeah, I was there was a lot of sexual experiences while I was a stripper. So
And when you were stripping, did you prefer being on stage or the VIP room?
I think you know what? I think I prefer being on stage, but also Miami is like a weird experience to
Yes.
where I don't know. That's a great question. Depends on the guy in the VIP room,
Right,
honestly.
right. Sex adventures and stripping.
Yes.
Were you making up for lost time when you lost your virginity at 18? I mean, because you've got such an energy and a thing to you.
Yeah, I think it was more the exhibition of it. Like I when I really started like my sexual journey, it was after giving a bunch of lap dances,
Right,
and sometimes I would be dancing on the guy, and if they were in jeans, I could have an orgasm. So I was like, then I instead of hiding it, I would just tell them, and I started getting more and more dances, and the guys
right,
would come in to where eventually I would like squirt on guys in the back room, and
right,
then I was friends with another stripper, and we would play this game where we would try and see who could get on a higher floor of one of the like buildings in downtown Miami. So we'd each like wait in lobbies, and we'd be like, "Oh,
right.
what floor do you live on?" And the guy would be like, "The eighth floor." So then we'd go up with him, and I'd be like, "Oh, I'm gonna give you a blowjob, but I have to take a picture of my friend." And then she'd be like, "Oh, well, I'm on the 12th floor with this guy." So I think that friendship and the first couple months in Miami really opened me up.
How many guys came when you just grinded your butt on them?
Oh my God. I think most of, especially if I said I was coming, then pretty much every guy.
And did you like dragging out dances? Because I mean, usually most of the dances are cut at 3 minutes.
Yeah,
Most
yeah.
of the clubs.
Yeah, well, Scarlett's was very strict. I did travel around as a traveling stripper.
Right,
Like Myrtle Beach, you can do whatever you want. There's no times.
right.
But I was really good at getting multiple dances. I was really good at getting guys to do like, oh, well, we'll need more time, so let's do three dances in a row, you know?
How did you handle the guys that accidentally touched you?
I don't think I did. You know what? Nobody ever like the inappropriateness was something that I welcomed. So no one was ever like overly inappropriate. If anything, I found that they were more intimidated of me because I was so just like, oh, I'm doing this and this feels good, instead of them having to ask or try for things.
But I would imagine even right now you still intimidate guys.
Yes, 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 yes. So
You,
much.
you're good looking. You've got a lot more sexual experience than them. I would
Yeah.
imagine most people would be afraid to talk to you, other than the fact that you are who you are. But like when they
Yeah.
came up to you on your own, I would imagine they'd be scared to death.
Yeah, you know what? I actually have a very bad history for dating because I don't get dates. I'm in a relationship now, but I met my girlfriend. I'm in a relationship with a
Right.
woman right now. I met her online because I it's so hard to meet people in
Of
person.
course, of course.
It's like, oh my gosh. And I think also the pandemic made it hard, but prior to the pandemic, I used to tell all my friends and stuff that were non-industry people like, "Oh, I'm just doomed to be like single forever."
But if you did meet somebody, either they must have watched your movies or the minute it came up, they were either scared
Hmm.
because whether they tell you or not, you know they're checking out your movies.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
they're watching you make these noises in movies and they don't understand that it's a performance. And that
Yes.
you don't make them at home so they feel intimidated, weird, or whatever
Yeah.
that word that is.
I had a lot of guys that would try and make me squirt to where I
Right,
had to put a stop to the attempts.
right.
And then also I had a lot of guys that would fail after like 1 or 2 minutes because they couldn't make me squirt or do something. I'll say my current relationship, It's not a problem now, but in the beginning she often asked like, "Are you sure? Are you sure I'm good? Are you sure this was good?" And like she almost didn't believe
Right.
me because of it.
And how many two pump experiences do you have back then?
Oh my God. I would say so many. Oh my God. I don't even know the amount. But the funny thing is I was in another relationship with a gentleman who knew my job,
Right.
and we were swingers, and a lot of the time we'd be swinging, we'd have a lot of fails. So I started putting ads out on Craigslist when you could do that because you still could then.
Right.
And I was getting fans to come over, and my fans were so much better than just random guys. Like, I don't know, I had a virgin guy who kept it up in a room full of like five other guys, and I was
Yeah, of
like,
course.
yeah, so call to arms. If I was calling to arms, they never failed.
Right.
But if it was like a guy that met me out in a club and then knew who I was, yes.
And did they expect porn sex from you?
Yes, yes. Yeah. But I also like to put on a show too. So I think I can tell by somebody's like whatever presence they're giving off. So if they're giving off that type of presence, then I think I get excited and play into that.
Then do you prefer more, if you, I guess, dominant? Because if you're having so much fun with fans, they worship you and they'll do
Yes.
anything you tell them to do. Is that a more
Yes.
comfortable situation for you than you meeting a guy in a bar and you think this guy's like whatever he's supposed to be?
It's so curious because I would say yes, I like to be more dominant, and like even if I meet a guy in a bar, if I was meeting men in bars, what I would do is I would immediately, instead of like waiting to figure out if we're gonna have sex or kiss, I'd be like, "Oh, let's just like sleep together." So it was totally that way. In my current relationship, it's been the opposite. And even the opposite, we've been together for 9 months, and she's the dominant in bed. I'm the dominant outside of it. But it's like so interesting to where most of the time I'm doing nothing or getting tossed around.
It sounds like you have more intimacy with her than you have sex.
Yes, 100%. You're so right.
And when
Yeah.
you mentioned the five guys, the fans, did you enjoy being the center of attention at that point? Was it
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think being a center of attention is always really cool, but I also think being able to command that amount of men, again, the power play for me
right?
is what it was always like. Wow, I'm having all these men around me and I can tell them exactly what to do. So, yeah.
And did you have sex with 35 people or something in public? Do I have those right notes? Or did you have
Um,
sex?
I
I'm
I
sorry.
did 20, 25
I'm
guys.
sorry. How does that come up? How does because even 25 is like damn.
Yeah. Um, I would say Craigslist. It all comes up through Craigslist. Because it used to be so cool. You could post on classifieds, and some of the stuff you read on classifieds would make great pornos as well because
Right.
people literally were pouring their hearts out to the things they want. And I think we had just done like 10 or 12 guys to where me and my boyfriend at the time were just like messing around, and we're like, well, fuck it. Let's see how many we can
Right.
get. And then it did actually happen.
And was he turned down watching you have sex with other guys at that point?
Yes, yes. That was most of our relationship. Pretty much that was his thing, which was fine for me.
So then you were submissive at that point? If he said, go have sex with that guy, you would?
You know what? I guess that would be like a submissive thing. I mean, I definitely had my choices and would be like, no, I don't like this guy or I do like this
Right.
guy. But yeah, yeah, I guess. Yeah. I never thought about it like that.
And were you just having vaginal sex with them? Is there any other kind of
I mean everything. I was doing everything back then. I was doing a lot of DPs personally. DPs were my favorite. So personally, I was doing a lot of DPs.
and was the idea for you to get them off, or did you just have so much fun with so many different things at once that you just never wanted to end?
I was having so much fun. So I have like one of my favorite stories is I was on set and I did a gangbang of five guys, and then I came home and I did a DP with my boyfriend and his friend, and then they called friends over and I ended up doing a gangbang all in one day. And it was because like when you're in that environment, I think like it's your adrenaline's like so pumped up that you're just, if you can just stay up, you might as well. Because I often think like porn is really great and it's most of the time positive, but sometimes you do a big scene and the next day you kind of feel like sad or lower. And it's not like in a bad sense, it's just like you had so many orgasms and your
Right,
endorphins were up so high. So you do kind of have a come down. So if I can
right.
stay up more, I want to.
And who, without kissing your butt, who would not want to have sex with you?
I've gotten really lucky. Even if they
Okay,
say they don't, they will.
of course. Whether you're an adult star or not, you're still a good looking woman.
Yeah.
And the fact that you will do a DP or let somebody put it in your butt who's probably never had anal sex with a girl before, it's like
Yes.
too many fantasies for him.
Yes. Yes.
So was 25 the most guys you had sex with at once?
Yes, it was.
Do you hope to beat that?
You know, if this was before I broke my back, I would be like, hell yeah, totally. After breaking my back, no. I think the way they would flip and flop me around,
Right,
I
right.
would just be like, oh my God.
But being in the adult business, has your perception of sex changed?
For sure, 100%. I think before I would have seen it as just, I mean, prior I would have seen it like growing up, I saw it more as a negative thing. And then once I started stripping, it was more of an exploratory experience. But once I got into porn, it shifted into a bunch of different things. But one of the things I like to say the most is it shifted into, for me, a very feminist experience where we were women in the industry make more than the men and we're the
Right,
ones that get catered to on set, and we really do have the capability of saying yes and no. So I think the power thing again was something I
right,
really enjoyed. And then also, I just think that there's this connotation that women like can't like all these crazy dirty things, and
right.
it's so wrong. It's so wrong, especially beautiful women. Most Some of the most beautiful women I've seen like the dirtiest things. So,
Absolutely. 100%. Okay, but without kissing your butt, where does the legend of Adriana start? Because I've been a journalist for 35 years, an adult.
mhm.
When you came in, there were some crazy like stories about some stuff that you've done offset or everything else. Was that
Yeah.
just you were just so still on the high from shooting? Or was that you were just so horny? You know, like
Yes.
the Uber drivers. There's a bunch of different things.
Yes, well, you know what too? So it was from the high from shooting, but also the filming of it, because even though like we didn't have OnlyFans and we didn't have paid Snapchat or anything,
Right,
I was still filming these things and putting them on Snap or putting them on Twitter, like full things
right.
out on Reddit and stuff. So I think not just the high of the sexual experience, but I loved the filming aspect and I loved having people watch me. Like a big turn on for me is people watching me. I could have sex in front of like 100 people and be totally fine
Right.
because that's one of the things I really, really enjoy.
Uh, Filming. Are you hoping to shock them or arouse them?
Arouse them, arouse them, arouse them. I like to say, people ask me if I'll ever do more than triple anal or triple penetration. And I have a little saying where I'm like, three is a party, four turns into a circus.
Right,
Because my goal in doing that wasn't to, oh, let's see how many things we can fit inside of me in a sense. So
right,
everyone's like, oh my God. It was to push my own sexual experience because I had done double anal,
right,
and you also have to have guys that really, really want to do it for you. So it was
right,
also, in a sense, having a lot of control because I had all these
right,
really hot men. And when I did
right,
it, I had the best male porn stars back then. So
right.
it was even
And
better.
I would imagine you probably intimidated some of the veteran porn stars too, males.
Yeah. After 4 years in the industry, I had a rule I couldn't do any scenes with new guys because also if they started to fail, I started to charge into it. I'd be like, "Oh, what's the matter? You think you're gonna be a
Oh yeah,
porn star?" Like,
yes. Was there an award, a scene, or something you felt Adriana had arrived in adult? You were established.
Um, oh gosh. I mean, I wish it was sooner, but it was definitely my female performer of the year because for 2 years leading up to that, I had heard all these awesome things from everyone around me. Um, but having the actual entire industry recognize you, I think that was the first time I was like, wow, I am this person that I've set out to be. And then also, when I won Female Performer of the Year, I was very lucky to have most of the audience stand up and cheer. And I do love AVN. I've gone to a bunch.
Right.
It's very rare you see the audience stand up and cheer.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
was like, wow, everybody agrees with me. I've worked so hard for this. So
Well, that, and we heard from crew people like you wouldn't believe what this girl was doing, and these are super jaded people.
yeah, yeah.
They're like, okay, like you come back when you left in 2022. Did you want to stop being Adriana? Did you want to take the character into another realm outside of adult? Was it
You know what I think happened? I think that my back injury just caused me to question a lot of things because I had a good 3 to 6 months where, I was often angry at Adriana, but I also had just started streaming on a PG platform.
I know nothing about Twitch. You treat me like I'm stupid. I'm probably one of the only human beings that does it.
So, this is actually perfect for you because the way I like to describe Twitch is if it were a strip club. So, you're
Okay.
outside of the strip club, and when you jump into chat, that's you getting in past the bouncer. And then when you communicate in the chat, that's you tipping the woman. And then when you pay to like you can pay to get them to say things. Like someone can pay a donation and then be like, "Oh, hi, can you say like what's up to Jared or whatever?" Or if they subscribe to your platform, you acknowledge them more. So I'm like, oh, subscribing or paying is the same thing as like getting a lap dance.
Right.
And then also, there's a lot of donations on that platform that you can do, which is really cool. But I just feel like it's been such a cool platform because I really get to be so authentic. And then the only thing I was missing in porn, especially as I got older, was a lack of intellectual conversation. Only because I felt like the porn environment likes to talk about the porn environment. So it was so cool to be around a group of people that were like, let's talk about the world, the universe,
Right.
computers. I learned how to build a computer when I was an Apple girl within 3 months of getting on the platform. So it's a lot like webcamming, but a little more organized. So I
Right.
was getting a lot of backlash from people on there, and a lot of the gaming I would do, I would get booked to play a video game, and then they would be
Right.
like, "Oh, but she's in porn, cancel it."
Right.
So I think it was a combination of like in porn, when you're a star in porn, you have a bubble fan base that protects you from the outside
Right.
bubble. And then when I started streaming, that bubble like literally popped and all these other negative people were able to get
Right.
in. So I think it was just a little bit of an identity crisis, you know, with Twitch and then my back injury. One of the most things that people used to say, and now I'll take it now I'm like, oh, this is a comp assault a little bit, but they'd be like, oh, you're so normal. Oh my God, I'm so surprised you're
Right.
so normal. And that's when I'm like, oh well, fuck you and thank you.
Right. Right.
um because like what is normal? And then, you know, it's just I don't know. I've never looked at porn even before. I've never looked at people and been like, they're fucking crazy, right? So it's
Right.
always interesting to experience people that think that way or have their eyes opened to differences. Also, one of the funny experiences I have on Twitch is I'll get men that'll come in and they'll be like, I just jerked off to you and came. And then I'm like, I love to be like, ew, you mean to tell me you're telling a 2,000 dorks that you have fucking cum all over your keyboard?
Right.
Right? So it's funny
Right.
to like have the camaraderie. And then also, sometimes I'll get people that'll come in and they'll be mean to me right off the bat because you can see if they're a first time chatter, how long
Right,
they've
right,
been viewing you. And instead of being rude or instead of blocking them, I like to tell them, like, like if somebody's like, "Oh, you're worthless," I'll be like, "Wow, that
right,
like hurts my feelings. I don't know why you'd think that, but I would love for you to hang out and get to
right.
know me." And people will change their minds. So I find that really interesting and cool too.
Well, I think three things. I hope I don't say this wrong. You've got a ridiculous amount of life experiences. You, you,
Thank you.
you, you're intelligent. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, so what, most guys are not used to talking to women from the adult business or good-looking women that are necessarily that intelligent. Hope that
Yeah,
didn't sound
thank you.
bad.
Now the reason why I want to shoot again is because I want to have the narrative of she was a great performer, because right
Right.
now most of the narrative is, oh, she had a terrible back injury. So I'm like, no, I'm going to work extra
Right.
hard so you guys forget about that.
I think though, just me, when social media started, you were huge in adult, but
Yeah.
social media took you to a whole different level of popularity or
Yes.
exposure. So
Yes.
trying to go out and never being Adriana, to me, it would be impossible.
Yes, yes. Actually, also, like Twitch really upped me to a lot of people. And then the back injury is the thing that I think made me what the term household name, because people that don't watch porn saw that and know who I am, and a lot of gamers. So I actually sometimes will have experiences where I'll go out and then the whole night shifts, and I've been upset, then my group has been upset,
Of course,
because
100%.
also there's what I work on with therapy now is, if I'm out and somebody recognizes me, how to not take on the persona. Because like
Right.
quite recently I went out and I was drinking with friends, somebody
Oh,
recognized me, I took a picture with them, then someone else recognized
of
me,
course.
and then I started drinking, and then I was like climbing up on someone's shoulders, like doing shots off a bar, licking people. So like the monster takes over a little bit,
Right,
you
right.
know?
I mean,
Now the industry is just people who get in for income.
yes.
Yeah.
Or what's the word? Clout.
Clout, yes. Yeah. You know what? It's actually funny is one of my first days shooting, I actually ended up being upset after in the car because the girl I shot with, it was me, another girl, and a male. And I mean, one of the things I was upset about was like, we had to get on our knees, and then the
Right,
guy was
right,
doing the cum shot. She didn't want to share it. She didn't want it on her face. And then also, I think my pet peeve, because I've directed my own scenes, is when girls want pillows on the floor, blankets on the floor, because it just
right.
doesn't fit the scene,
Of
or
course.
like it doesn't make a good cut. And
Right,
she wanted two big pillows, and for some
right.
reason, that was my like final straw.
Did you have to deal with a lot of gay buffet girls when you did Go Girl scenes?
Um, You know what? I think I was really lucky with that. I did a lot of new girls in the beginning, and I think doing that, you get to be like their first experiences. So they look up to you in a sense, and like even if they didn't end up liking girls or like girls, when it's somebody's first experience, I feel
Right.
most of the time they're still into it. Um, and then after like a couple years, I only worked with veterans. So
Right.
no, I actually I had almost all good experiences.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Question. Because you are who you are and at this stage of your life, do you feel you have a sense of obligation to help the next generation of people who come up, performers?
So it's so funny. So I'm actually right now looking to take classes for motivational speaking and life coaching, because one of the things I want to do is, I think nobody talks about getting out of porn when you get into
Right.
porn. The only thing they talk about it is in a negative way, right? So I'm like, somebody needs to talk about how to get in porn with the the idea of making it a brand and then retiring, how to
Right.
get in to save your money and then without being like, oh, I hated this career or
Right,
blah, blah,
right.
blah. So I am hoping to do that within the next year to 2 years.
And you have the extremely unique, cool perception of being huge and obviously having enough experience to understand like what's going on and what you
Yes.
need when you get out.
Yes. Yes.
To me, that would be completely invaluable. Like I couldn't think of five people that would have that.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
And when you got started, how long was it before you had the knowledge that you have now? Where was it fun when you started, or was it a job, or did you always want it to be a career?
You know what? My agent, I think, was the one who instilled that it was a career, and he told me that he could make me a star if I listened to him. And I was so blinded by wanting to be a star and have fun that I was like,
Right,
whatever I have to do.
right,
So so that really instilled it in me. And then also there was like a few times where I would go to set, and often in the beginning of my career, I wouldn't be supposed to be doing anal or DP, and I would just do it because I'd be like, this is
right.
fun. Where he would yell at me and be like,
Of
you don't
course,
go to work and do
of course,
extra stuff.
for
So
free,
that
more or
also
less.
really helped me realize it.
And I come from a time, maybe you too, where girls would get in and they would start doing solo, then maybe girl girl, then maybe boy girl. I hear girls now are doing double anal the first week in the business. Is
Yes, yeah.
that a good way to run a career at this point? Is that like
Oh gosh, no, I think you have to be the right type of person. So I think the difference is I was so successful when I got in because I was a no tattooed girl at the time where no tattoos were really important in the industry. Um, and unlike all the other no tattoo girls, I went full force because I was
right,
like, what can my body do? And I have
right,
professional athletes, sex athletes to do it for me.
right,
So I think it worked well for me because I was able to have the longevity of that. But I don't think it's good for girls to do now because everything, the way we consume media is different, right?
right,
So
right,
you need to be able to have something that's not just your personality that can
right,
prolong you. And then also, if we're being honest, the way of the world, they're less accepting of these crazy things,
right,
and in a way that's not shock value and,
right,
let's say, negative stuff.
right,
So I think it's also better for your brand to go slow and do the things that are quote, quote, nicer, so you can kind of also follow the way of media as well.
right.
Yeah.
And I also think on platforms like OnlyFans, it's more about being authentic than it is people just wanting to see you get boned because they can see you get boned anywhere.
Yes. 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 One of the reasons why I think my OnlyFans is so successful is because during the pandemic, I started doing like 6 hour lives. Like I would go on there and spend my entire day. Like I cried on there. They know like
Right,
really deep personal stuff.
right.
So it is.
And you do custom work on OF?
I do, yeah, but for really, really high now. It's like,
Good.
very expensive.
Craziest request you got for custom?
Oh my gosh. I mean, if I were to take out all the poo stuff that gets offered, um, I think one of them was to do a double BJ and then flip backward, like roll out of the double BJ, flip backwards with the person's name on my chest, and flip in a way to where I was like, my pussy could squirt onto my face, and then have like five other guys dressed up as clowns come on it after. Because I was like, where's the direction here? We've got clowns, we've got assault,
Right.
like what's happening?
So you went from double BJ to pile driver to
Yes,
bukkake,
pile driver.
basically.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes.
I
But the
hope
weird elements is what made it weird.
the clowns.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I also get, for me, I think a lot of things aren't weird because I did a lot of food play. So I get a lot of requests for food play and like a lot of spit play, but that's something I did personally and on film, so I don't find it too weird.
From the early parts of your career, were there any things you regretted doing? Things you would have done differently if you started now?
You know what? There are things I wish I would have done differently that actually aren't the things I did on set. So I had a moment where I squirted on an escalator for funsies and put it all over the internet. It did boost me a lot, but I found out one of the hard things about it is when I started to do Twitch and I started
Right.
to be more into mainstream consumption, that's like one of the things that gets held against me or brought up often.
Of course.
So I think I would have just dialed back a little bit on some of the things I did in a
Right.
non-professional setting.
Right.
Like if I would have, I mean, I did gangbangs at my house that were of fans and no one freaked out because I was in a closed space. So
Right.
maybe I would have been in a little more closed spaces. The peeing on Hollywood Boulevard with Kiss of Sins, that's fine because Hollywood Boulevard's gross. So
Depends which part, but I lived right by there for a while. But uh, in the early part of your career, being such a nymphomaniac, I hope that's the correct word.
I like it. I like it.
Did you ever have any directors or producers try and get anything from you?
You know what? I had a lot and I still like if I were to work for these two people, they would still ask me for things. And it's funny because I also yeah, I mean I've only given two inappropriate blowjobs. So not I didn't act out too much, but yes. For me though, also I think the directors that would want things from me I ended up working with. And what I found is like the scenes were just really long. Like I remember doing a scene with my friend Penny with I
Right.
was filming with Darko a lot and then I asked for Penny to be in a scene and Penny gets there and we start doing the scene and she's like, "Girl, I'm not like complaining, but this is like we're like 2 hours in. Like when are we done?" And I remember
Right.
being like, "Oh, this isn't a normal like time for you?" Like
Right.
so I did have very long experiences, but just made me more creative and fun.
Nowadays, directors and different people have OF accounts. Does that make it any different if you work with them now?
No, no, not really. But I don't really do trade content on my OF. So they still have to
Okay.
hire me, so it still feels the same where it's very professional.
And when you broke your back, that whole incident episode, I don't even know the politically correct way to call that.
Mhm.
You went into it happy, the sad thing happens.
Mhm.
At what point do these people even acknowledge, like, because they had to be pretty stupid the way that stuff was set up? I'm sorry.
Yes, yes, very, very much so. Very much so.
And there has to be at some point, even as a human being, some type of acknowledgement that you've just hurt somebody.
Yeah, so I actually found it really funny. So, they had just only sent me like the smallest bouquet out of everyone.
When you go into the hospital, do you have a sense of how fucked up this situation is?
I was in shock, to be honest. Like, I was in shock. In the video, if you look, I'm not even crying. And then the entire first night in the hospital, I didn't cry at all. Um, because I just knew that something was really bad because I heard it and it sounded like dropping an entire sheet of glass because
Yes.
I didn't break, I shattered. So I heard it and then like one of the nurses comes in and is like, "Do you need like pain medicine? More pain medicine?" And I was like breathing a lot and I was like, "No, I'm fine." And he's like, "You do because people when they're that stoic, they're in a lot of pain." But my first few hours in the hospital was like a funny experience because not only did I, like everyone knows, not know I was pregnant, found out I was pregnant, didn't believe them, so I made them move me, even though I wasn't supposed to be moved, roll me up to get an ultrasound. And the guy giving me the ultrasound starts laughing at the whole story when I'm like, "Oh, well, I didn't know that." And then he starts laughing and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And then I'm like, this is this is like an episode of House or ER or something.
Right.
Then I get rolled back down. I finally get taken to get an x-ray and that's when the whole hospital had started to know who I was. So
Right.
the guys who gave me the x-ray were like, "Oh my god, we're such big fans of you." And
Right.
I was like, "How bad is it?" And they're like, "We're not allowed to tell." And I was like, "If you've seen me naked, then you should be able to tell me." And they were like, "Is bad." But it was like it was funny with some of the nurses and the experiences.
And then you were in the hospital at that point for how long? A week or something, or longer?
Yeah, I was in, so it took a week to get the surgery done because they had
Right,
to devise a team for it. And then also getting a termination in the hospital, you have to go through a lot more steps.
right.
So I had to have approval for that. And then because the approval takes so long, that my CAT scan got delayed or my CT scan got delayed because they were like, oh, this could hurt the baby. And it's even funnier because I broke up with that guy a month prior to the breaking my back. And he put me on his health insurance for most of my time with him. And I had called him like a week prior and was like, take me off your insurance. I want nothing to do with you. And he's like, do you have new health insurance? And I said, no. And he goes, well, I'm just going to wait until you tell me you have new health insurance. Lo and behold, I'm in the hospital calling him, hey, do you have the health insurance number? So he was, they actually had to come be there, which was so funny.
You get out of the hospital, they tell you it's going to take, I don't know how long for rehab. Your first
Hmm.
thought at that point is like, am I fucked now? I don't mean fucked in a sexual sense, but
Yeah.
like what's going to happen to me?
Yeah, I think it broke me. I think for sure it broke me because when I got out of the hospital, um, I had to have care around the house. I had to hire people to take care of me and nurses to come in
Right.
and take care of me. So I honestly, I think the only reason why I got through it is because I wasn't able to see any future or to see any experience. And then the pain was so much that I was just so concentrated on thinking like, this is my life. I'm always going to be in pain. And then being so active, like having all of that taken away was really, really, really hard.
And I would imagine you got a lot of fan support because
I did.
the way it came out publicly, it was like, ooh, that looked really bad, and we hope she's okay. So I
Yes.
couldn't imagine your actual being there, like type of thing.
Yes. So it was actually one of my highest days on OnlyFans was the day I broke my back. And the two second ones were the 2 days following in the hospital. So it was really, really cool to see everyone be so supportive. And then also, I think I'm so lucky. And another time that I was like, wow, I have brand power. Like I knew I was a name and I knew I was a porn star.
Right.
But when I realized I had brand power was after I hurt my back. 2 years later, I hadn't posted anything and I hadn't
Right.
lost income. It had only gone up because people were even there to just be like, I just want to help support you through this and everything. So
Right.
I was super, super blessed.
And you get through that, you decide you want to change the ending narrative. Do,
Yes.
do you at that point, with your background and the experience and the directing and everything else, do you look for specific types of scenes to shoot? Like you posted online that you were coming back, but were there like
Yes. Yeah.
maybe I'm only going to shoot for vixens and brazzers and of all
So
kinds?
I the only difference now is for me, I want to shoot for everybody because I would like to win Female Performer of the Year at this next AVN.
Right.
Um, so I came back and was like, give me everybody. The only difference is anal's harder for me because I just removed my gallbladder. So the clean out is harder, not the actual part.
Right.
So I just only do anal or DPs or gangbangs for things that are going to make a splash, but
Right.
I will perform for anything.
And God bless you. You're in what sounds like a very serious relationship. Does that change at this point in your life how you approach adult work?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's also, we're going to therapy next week to help her. I mean, I don't think the performance is any different.
Right.
I would say that uh, it's just my after set experience is
Right.
different, but I think also my back injury has made it so
Right.
different. Um, but yeah, it's actually very interesting because I'm 34, so now I want to actually have a good relationship. So it's an interesting experience for sure.
And I would guess your perspective from being 18, I think when you started stripping, to 34, getting back in adult has probably changed on maybe how you approach the business and stuff too.
Yes, yes. Now, like, okay, so I still want to be Adriana how I was before, and I want to win Performer of the Year. So like the way that I'm like, okay, let me shoot and be a yes woman is still very much the same. But the difference now is if I'm tired or my body's tired, I will make the time for myself to make sure I'm taking care of myself and being healthy. Um, and I also think that I just I put myself instead of Adriana first, which has been a nice experience.
I also think, just from my own opinion, and being an old person, I never thought I'd be an old person. Your brain says go and your body says slow down.
Yes, yes, yes. I actually was very, very lucky to have some of the first few experiences back filming where I said, I don't know how this is gonna be. So we might have to cater things on set. And then also there's an option if I'm doing two or three scenes in a row that I might not be able and I might have to call you guys the night before. And I did have two of those experiences and everyone was so nice. So I also find that the industry is nicer now than it was before when it comes to respecting your personal welfare. So that's cool, really cool.
What's your life experiences and your knowledge now? You continue to do the crazy stuff you're doing before, back permitting, of course.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think, yeah, I mean, yeah, now I think I'm kind of renewed when it comes to being exhibitionist again. Like, I think so I started shooting again because I wanted the narrative, but also it's extremely hard to be your own manager at home. And I think something that's not talked about, but something that's felt with other girls that are considered porn stars from my generation is we have this like online fatigue from OnlyFans.
Right.
And one day I had an epiphany and I was like, oh, like because customs were happening and then like having to get content, I started to just be like, I'm not enjoying this. And
100%.
then I thought maybe I didn't like sex work. And then I had the epiphany and I was like, oh, I don't want to be a cam girl Instagram influencer. I want to be
Right.
a porn star.
Right.
So coming back into shooting, I think has renewed a lot of exhibition emotions for me. So I'm the same.
And I know you don't collab, but do you see a difference between content creators and porn stars?
100%. I wish the industry treated or there was more separation, honestly. I wish that I wish that content trades were regulated better because yeah, I mean, I don't do content trades and then I can tell you most of my content on OnlyFans is I'll hire Darko to shoot it
Right.
and use professionals because yeah, it's the same way. They don't want to be there and then also porn stars know their body, they know their
Right.
bodily health, and that's the huge difference. Content creators
Right.
often don't know their bodily health or like their body and also like opening up to the fucking camera. Like there is a generation of people, even professional porn stars that are getting in that don't know that anymore. Oh my god, it bothers me.
Can I give you my 2 cents on that?
Yes, please. I would love.
They're so used to iPhones.
Yes.
They're so used to sitting down that the two funny thoughts I get when I shoot with people. I'm in Chicago right now and I shoot with people here. I lived in Reseda for 40 years, but
Okay.
they don't like, why do I gotta be on set all day? Why do I
Yes.
like the other one that cracks me up to this day, and it happened. I shot some stuff in January at Exposition, and it was like testing. Like, and some people are like, yeah, I get tested every day, and it's like, we didn't ask you if you got fucked. I asked you if you
Yes.
got like 13 different tests or whatever. I don't even know how many there are at this point, but there's a lot.
Yes. Yeah.
And they seem surprised about that. They're like,
Yes.
like, why would I want? Like, what do you mean? Why would you want to do that?
Yes. Yes. No, I've actually experienced the same thing. I went on a trip to Tennessee uh 2 years ago for a content trip and
Right.
it was a lot of Instagram influencers and one porn star. So we're like, oh, let's film a scene together. And then this other Instagram influencer is like, oh, can I perform with you guys? And we're like, sure. So then we wake up, we're getting ready to do this scene. We're literally like in the room with the camera and we're like, let's all share tests. And she goes, "What do you mean tests?" And me and the other girl were like, "STD panels." And she was
Right,
like,
right,
"Oh, I don't have that, but I only perform with my boyfriend." And we were like, "But you're going to have sex with us." And she was like, "Well, yeah, and girls." And I remember just being like, "Oh
right.
my God."
And
Uh,
some of these people too, just because you shot 3 movies in your closet in your house doesn't make you a porn star.
yes, yes. The attitude, the attitude. Yes.
Yeah, it's
Totally.
like, come on. But
The
anyway,
the earning it is different. I think early in the industry, for me, I had to earn my accolades. You don't really have to earn your accolades as much, you know.
the difference you had though, whether you did it intentionally or not, just my 2 cents,
Hmm.
you did shit before people asked. So
Yes.
people never had to say, "Well, she do, dude, she did it." Like, she
I
didn't.
actually always try and do that. So one of the things that I've through my whole life is always thought that um if you can make somebody's day better, then you're going to make your own
Right,
day better. So like down to if a PA is the person that has the rags for picking up the cum, I'll say please and thank you, or I'll grab them myself
right,
and throw
right,
them out myself rather than throw them on the ground or like,
right.
um so I think that definitely helped.
I think one of the other things, just my 2 cents,
Mhm.
you never shied away from what you did, and you never tried to hide or say. You were very upfront about it. You're always happy. You're always smiling.
Yes, thank you.
That to me went a long way,
Yeah,
because
thank
I'm
you.
sure we both know girls in the business who say they like doing this, but they can't stand it.
Yes,
Their,
yes,
their,
absolutely.
their agent has said, "Just tell them how much you like to do this." Like,
Yeah, yeah. But
so
I mean, come on. I Another thing I say is if you're having a bad day and then you go to set, you're gonna have an orgasm, or you're gonna try and
right,
have an
right,
orgasm, and you're gonna leave happy. So we have one of the few jobs where we
right,
can actually leave happy.
right. And um, very quickly, you had your first experience with a girl in fourth grade, sixth grade, seventh grade.
Sixth grade, well, fourth grade behind a book, and then sixth grade, yes, my girlfriend told me that this is what she read in one of her books. And then
Right.
honestly, I had a very big awakening that now to where I like really, really into women because
I'm
of that
sure.
experience. So we actually at one point got in trouble to where we weren't allowed to take baths together because we would make
Right.
out and do things in her closet to where
Right.
when you're like a teen, you're sweaty, like you're red. So her parents would come in and we would be like, "We're not doing anything, but
Right.
like, come on."
But before those two experiences, were you looking at other girls? Did you have like think they were hot? Did you think they were
Yes. So I didn't necessarily in my brain like sexualize it, but I didn't sexualize a lot of things when I was younger.
right?
I would get obsessed with girls. So I would like see a girl in a movie or a show and then wear my hair like her or do my makeup like her for like the next 2 weeks.
Right.
So now I look back and I'm like, "Oh, well there's a lot of tell signs from my the way
Right.
I would literally act when I was younger."
And if this is too personal, I apologize. But when you meet your current girlfriend, were
Mhm.
you giddy when the first time you had sex with her, or were you maybe giddy with girls when you started?
Yes. The first time I had sex with her was so good, but it was actually really funny because our first date, we ended up having sex outside in the car in front of the sushi spot.
There you go.
And it was just so good. I was like, well, now we have to have a second date.
You lost your virginity at 18. Did you immediately become sexually active? Did you wait before you did it again?
um, well, I had sex maybe like a few more times with that same person, and then 6 months later, I became very sexually active because I was started dancing. Stripping changed my world.
And prior to going all the way, had you masturbated or given BJ's or done anything?
No, that like I was the opposite. I would even wear shirts that came up to like this height. Like I never
Yeah.
even showed off anything, which is so funny. So I went from 0 to 100 and yeah.
heard rumors about you. I'll ask you about one.
Okay.
At some point, you hooked up with your foster father.
Yes, that's a real rumor.
A real rumor or a real story?
That's a real story. That's a real story. That was a real story.
How does that
I
even come
mean,
up?
um, well, so I was with him at two different occasions. I was with him when I was in kindergarten and then again when I was 14. And we
Right,
were really close when I was 14, but there was no inappropriateness whatsoever, if anything, except for my mental inappropriateness. So when I was, yeah, when I turned 18, I think I went back to Florida when I was 19, and it's such a small town. The town of Jupiter is pretty small, and
right.
I just hit him up and was like, "Oh, we should get dinner and hang out." And one thing led to another. So
And
a little bit of coercion on my part.
I know you didn't have sex before 18, but were you a cock tease in high school?
I think everyone would say I was, but in my mind, no.
Was there a difference between the pre-back issue of the two, we'll call it you and Adriana, and you and Adriana now?
Yes, yes, 100%. I think so. Before I broke my back, actually, in my own mind, didn't think my own name Desiree for 10 years. So I never even got called Desiree. So
Right,
Adriana was like a lifesaver because she was like, we're going to make money, we're going to have fun doing it. So
right,
she really, really, really made sure I'd be okay for the rest of my life. But when I lost just her, I had the huge crash out and I was like, oh my God, I haven't thought my real name. Like, who am I? So it was interesting to find things that I liked outside of porn. And then it's also been interesting to carry two different viewpoints in yourself
right.
that can be contradicting but still work together, because that'll happen. That happens to me often even now.
Right.
So she's definitely, I think now there's two of us, where before there just was the brand.
Right. And over the last 4 or 5 years, we've sadly had a bunch of people pass away, some taking their own lives. Do you think this industry puts that much pressure on people, or do you think there's pre-existing conditions?
I think it's a mix of both, but I mainly think it's a lack of community. I think that the industry can be hard because the lack of intimate community between our peers is actually far in between, especially with the way shooting is now. Like when I first got in, we were more tight knit because there was less of us, right? Now there's so many of us to where it's really hard to make valuable friends here and people
Right,
that'll check on you outside of your brand, because
right,
I don't think that performers recognize now that you are not your brand. Like, if I hang out with Abigail Mack, like, yeah, we're still sexual, but she's not like crawling on her knees the whole time we're hanging out and being
right,
like saying stuff. We're actually having intimate experiences. But if you don't get to meet people and see that
right,
side of them, then how can they help you when you're going through times? And then I also think the lack of understanding from the outside of the porn industry is what makes it so much harder, because I've had days, where, especially starting Twitch, where I had I got fired from things because of my background. And for some reason that hurts the most, because you're damned if you do and damned if you don't.
right,
And you're like, it's just really shocking because people want you to be better than porn a lot, but they don't want you to be anything else than porn. So I think that makes it really challenging for people, and I think that's where you have to, if I could have a choice, I would tell women not to get into porn until they're 21, or they have a support system that's very strong. I think it's also the times. It's the
right.
times. I mean, think about it. Think about like 12 years ago. Think about how many girl orgies you had. Look at how many girl orgies are actually happening now. not a lot. So I think we were closer to that before because we could
Right.
all get along on set. I think now directors are like, "Oh fuck no, these girls, no, we can't
Right.
manage them together."
You went to AVN, but you weren't signing, correct? You were just walking around?
So I did sign, but I ended up just signing for Zen Models, but it wasn't planned or anything
Right.
because I, gosh, I just have anxiety a little bit now. And my anxiety comes from the senses, what if people don't think I'm who I was before? So I was really nervous because I was like, I have to wear sneakers if I'm going to be saying hi to people like the whole day. And
Right.
I like before I drank and I was like climbing on tables and sitting on people's laps, I had to have bodyguards say like, "Hey, you can't pick her up," because fans are
Right.
so used to that. So that was the big anxiety that I had, and it was actually really fun to go there and just have it be very chill. And I ended up having my line was so long at one point we were getting yelled at by AVN and the security people because it was in the way. And also I left with like fuck me, I could have bought cheaper outfits this whole time because I was in shoes and jeans sometimes. I honestly thought that I wouldn't have anybody that wanted to see me. I don't
Because
know. I don't know. I think I was giving myself detriment. I don't know. I thought maybe because it had been so long and there's so many big new names now that I would be on the back burner, which at the same time I was okay about because I was like, that's why I'm shooting again because I don't want my name to fall into oblivion, you know?
other big plans for you in 2026?
Besides just doing some classes for life coaching and
Right.
trying to get more into the next steps for motivational speaking, no. But also, I will say, because I said this before, I do deeply in my heart think that I'm going to win next year Female Performer of the Year because I'm going to try. So I think that's a big thing because you also have to campaign when you decide you're going to be Performer of the Year for yourself. So I'm going to try really hard.
What are your social media handles?
So on Twitter, it's Adriana Chechik. On Instagram, it's bratnasty69 because I thought I was gonna be a rapper. Uh, my Twitch is Adriana Chechik TV, and everywhere else is Adriana Chechik. I keep getting kicked off YouTube, so that sucks.
And this whole journey, I shouldn't say other than because that sounds bad. Any part of this surprises you, amazes you, shocks you? You did it. You survived it. You just, I don't know, anything.
The whole thing. I constantly say, wow, I'm so lucky. And I constantly say, I'm so blessed because I would have not. I mean, I thought my future for myself was to grow up and get pregnant and have a baby, or I thought it was to struggle through college. So every single step of the way has been surprising. This year, I bought the house of my dreams, and I've been putting like antiques that I've dreamed of and all of
Right.
that stuff. So that part has been such a blessing. And then you know what? The friendships that I have in my fans, like the fans that I saw at AVN, for instance, that was so cool and amazing because I hadn't seen them in 6 years, but I had seen them at every other fan thing to where they really aren't fans. Like
Right.
my lines suck because I talk so much because I'm like, oh,
Right.
I know Jerry. Like I know what's going on in his life.
Right.
So that part really, really amazes me that we've been able to have this really, really cool, intimate relationship through public platforms.
Did you ever feature dance? Because I know you were a stripper.
A lot, a lot. I won XRCO. I think I won a feature dance performer. But yeah, Night Moves gave me a bunch of awards as well. So I loved feature dancing. I would actually use the dildo in a butt plug all the time and get. I never got yelled at, but
Right. No, there.
I know that my agent would get a talking to.
Anything you want to say to all of your fans?
Um, I just want to thank them for always making me who I am and for giving me staying power and literally making my dreams. I would not be where I am if I didn't have people who supported me, loved to watch me, and jerked off. Also, keep jerking off. I love that. Keep doing it.